We made it. We're like, if Wednesday was just a couple days later, then like we would be in business.
Yeah.
Um, but we're here. It's a Friday. It's a special Friday episode. We're gonna keep it relatively short because it is a Friday episode. Remember back in the day when we used to go for like an hour and a half? We just
Yeah,
talk.
but well, back in like when it was still kind of lockdown, COVID-y type things. Yeah, we were a lot more free time, but now things are rocking and rolling with school and stuff. So, but yeah,
Exactly.
those
We
are
were
the
just
good old days when we had 90 minutes for.
we went from like feature film to like animated short or something. But welcome in everyone. It's episode 105 Prep Talk Live. I'm Casey with Cascadia Dispatch. Joining me as usual is Tup the Urban Prepper. Tup, what's going on? The background, loving the background.
I'm really liking this background.
You did a fantastic job of
Yeah,
finding that parking spot in
yeah,
that
and this,
garage
yeah,
or something.
I'm in a parking garage right now. It's an undisclosed parking garage, but this is real concrete. This is good stuff here. So it's the Tup Studios is really coming together.
I bet the acoustics are amazing.
Yeah, the concrete sounds great for videos. Things are going pretty well overall. Just prepping, working on. Like, I have a couple videos and filming those, and you know how it is. Like, I have to kind of piece them together. And like, I have spare 20 minutes here. Let me film this B-roll footage. Let me do this video here, and but
Why
yeah,
do you think we have this podcast, this stream, this
it's good
thing?
to talk about.
We never have time to actually make the videos
Yeah.
anymore. It was like, okay, doing the filming, putting them together, editing them. We don't have the teams, the armies of content creation that some of the other wonderful YouTubers that we know have. So,
I'm trying to get my son to be a hand model at least, because even just like holding holding the gear and filming that would save me some time, so then I could focus on my lovely voice and narratives and stuff for it. But he doesn't seem to want to. I told him, hey, I'm going to open up an internship for a YouTuber to be.
I think that's a fantastic.
I would
idea.
I would prefer it to be my son to do it, but.
Did I tell you that about my daughter's secret YouTube channels that we found?
You did, yeah. You mentioned something about that.
Where she was doing hand, because we have very specific rules. Both of my kids would love to be on the stream. They would love to be in the videos, and that is a hard no. Just because for a lot of reasons. But their faces don't get to be in Daddy's stream yet.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to have their own streams, and I was like, no, you don't. You can do your own private channels. We'll do that. And my daughter decided that she was going to make her own without telling us, but she thought that she had it all private. And so she was doing these wonderful little coloring overhead hand videos where she was drawing pictures and things like that. And I happened to have her phone because she reset it. And then I got there were some comments that were being made on her videos, and and so that's how I found them all. But so yeah, the overhead, the hand modeling, fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, and I was thinking my daughter volunteered, but she has tiny hands, so I think everyone would know that, hey, those are tiny hands you have there.
Wait, are you thinking that people are going to look at your son's hands? Because look, I get he's your son, he's getting older, but he is still not a grown adult man.
Yeah, he doesn't have humongous hands like me. But...
And you are not a small person.
Yeah,
I have met you, and at 7'5", you are not.
Well, my dad's name was Chewbacca.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I think your daughter. I think either one of them could do it. I think that would be great.
Yeah, maybe give her a little shout out. A hand model, but
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, overall things are going pretty good. I'm trying to think of other prep stuff. Like a lot of what I'm doing is just corrective actions for stuff that other people in the household are screwing up. They keep messing up my everything. My pantry is I had my pantry so nice with color dots and organized and labeled and stuff, and now it's a big mess. And but it was, we just had our anniversary, so I got to pick my battles on what I call out and stuff.
Yeah, well, I understand. We were just talking in the green room beforehand.
Yeah, in the green room,
there was a lot of romantic talk about your PDFs.
Yes,
about how huge your PDFs were. She's a big fan.
Yeah,
of your gigantic PDFs.
Yeah, so, we had a nice romantic dinner, and we spent the conversation not talking mainly about the PDFs and about how we need to be following those a little bit more according to the plan. But yeah,
needs to spend a little more time focusing on your PDFs.
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
I think she really should, because the pantry one is not. It's not up to code. Uh, the junk drawer not up to
Own
code.
PDFs.
Garage not up to code.
No.
Uh, but yeah, the she did a good job. She's reorganizing some of our pantries with some of those because like for the first in first out for so she has these like shelves that do like the roll down so we could get like the latest and greatest one comes to the show. She did a good job on that, but everything else is all messed up. So, but yeah, the next version of the pantry video will have some of her contributions for to that. So,
Well, that will be
yeah,
fantastic. Do you think if Rip showed up and
that's
enforced the PDFs for
yeah.
her,
I think she
offer to
would.
take her to the train station
Yeah,
to
because
discuss
I
the PDFs, if that would be helpful?
yeah, I asked her to, yeah, I think she wanted me to, because we went to a nice dinner, and I said, hey, I was going to dress up as Rip for the dinner, but then she thought it'd be embarrassing. So,
So you just wore full camo.
yes,
You wore the hazmat suit and the
yeah,
whole thing.
yeah,
uh, that is fantastic. Um, so yeah, so you're talking about corrective action.
yeah.
I
There's
feel
a
like there's
lot of, I feel a lot of like prepping is like, it's like boring stuff. It's like, okay, let's, this kid, let's correct this, corrective action for this, corrective action for that. I gotta, restart, I gotta, you know, uh, change out some certain food items that are in some kits because they're expired now, and I gotta make sure that these are rotated. So a lot of prepping is just boring. Kind of, it's not glamorous stuff that you film. It's all like restocking, redoing, that kind of thing.
it's tedious. It's
It's super
also
tedious.
organization at a like a different level, because
Yeah,
like you, for example, you have the PDFs to try to keep everything organized,
yeah,
and life happens, and so you're constantly trying to bring things not from chaos, because you're starting from a super organized place.
yeah. So
So as it gets disorganized, it's compared to perfect, it's off, but compared to non-existent, you're still kind of
that's true.
ahead of
I
the
should,
game.
yeah, I got to look at it that way maybe. But it's for me, it's frustrating because I you put a lot of effort in getting this stuff at a good state, and I like for everything because I'm always worried about stuff. I'm worried about what if there's a fire? Okay, then let me get that together. Okay, now what if there's an earthquake? Okay, let me get that. And then when it gets messed up, I get a little anxious for that. But
Yeah, my wife
even
is
if it is messed up, it's still better than nothing.
yeah, my wife is the detail organizer in our house. We talk a lot about, like, I do broad big strokes and she does the details.
Mhm.
And so she will organize cabinets and all kinds of things to make them wonderful. And then, like, after 6 months of like me and the kids being in charge of the dishes or something or whatever, like, and then the cabinets all messed up because we didn't put it in the right organization.
Mhm.
Um, and it was very frustrating to her, and it took me a little minute to kind of figure out why, and I understand now. I'm like, okay, we can do a little bit better job making sure that the effort and the hard work that you're doing to go into that is not just squandered away, um, because we were thinking about other things or just trying to get the job done faster. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, no, it's a
And
whole thing.
one silver lining from this week is that my son finally is going to allow me to redo his backpack. I've been waiting for years.
Oh, very
He's like, I
nice.
don't want a prepper backpack. It's what he, I don't want one of your prepper backpacks. But now he's like, he's picking. I'm like, all right, pick your backpack. So he gets these backpacks. They're not up to snuff, and they're
Yeah.
he has a lot of books that he carries around and his laptop and stuff. And so I said, so he finally, Dad, can you make me a prepper backpack with a premier body armor and all this stuff and a first aid gift module and stuff. So I finally like, yes, got it. So
You're like, I want blinking lights. I
he
want
wants
a
he
water
wants
filtration system.
he wants full prepper on it. So
Yeah,
but he was originally he was so he didn't want like a Van Quest or a Maxpedition. He wanted like some like a normal kid backpack. But then he's just been unhappy with his backpack. So I finally got the green light on that. So I'll probably make it a video so to help with the
that's
motivation of it.
fantastic. I love that. I think we'll all be looking
I
forward
know
to
we've
that.
talked about it in episodes past as far as like like what students should have for
Yeah,
their
well,
EDC backpacks, but
and I think there's also, we had yesterday, we got an email from the school. Oh, we're in a secure lockdown.
yeah.
sort of situation. We're releasing kids this way. If your kid walks, you need to come and pick them up at the door and all that sort of stuff. And it was, again, like having phones. I know some parents don't want their kids to have phones for a variety of reasons. I do not judge. My kid was in a cafeteria worried, and I was able to communicate with them and be like, hey, it's okay. We're on our way. I'm in the parking lot. They can see my little dot driving to the
Mhm.
school and know where I was. So there was some reassurance there. As well as, then when it was time to do the pickup, I had my ID and everything else, but there's also pictures on the phone and stuff that we could show that to prove like, okay, yeah, this is my child or this is my parent or whatever. So yeah, I think when you're talking about the school stuff, there is a lot that can just kind of on a random Thursday go sideways. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, did you have a snack in your backpack? Did you have, some cash for the vending machine if you needed to grab something because someone was stuck in traffic? Like, what does all of that look like?
Yeah, I think that for us preppers, like we like having all like do I really need to give them paracord? Probably not.
Yeah.
Uh, so I, I think like, and I think the way that you set it up is like, yeah, the first aid module that makes sense, and and then like
Yeah.
a stacks type thing. But like, what does the student really need for their EDC backpack? Like I think a module. I like the modular approach, but
Yeah.
because the majority of the items is all going to be school stuff, and he's just going to mess it all up as far as
Yeah.
like it's not going to be organized. But if I could get one module in there, like what's the stuff that I want to include? And I think a lot of it goes outside of like it's not the typical prepper. It's for like those lockdown type scenarios and like
Yeah. It's not them. It's not them surviving a natural disaster on
yeah,
their own.
yeah,
It's how do you keep them comfortable for the period of time until you can get to them
yeah.
realistically, or until until the school starts, functioning more of like a shelter situation than that it does like a school.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll be chipping away at that. I'm trying to figure out what backpack to go for, like the backpack itself, because I let him pick out his last few backpacks.
Mhm.
They haven't been TUP approved, and
Yeah.
like expected, they failed failed him. So
Yeah. Yeah, our oldest opted for um, a North Face
yeah,
backpack this year. So that was good because it was a lot of space and we could put these things in. The youngest wanted more of the kind of basic Jan Sport
yeah.
kind of
I think
classic.
that's like the classic look. I think for
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the latest JanSports though. It's been a little bit, but the JanSport I had when I was in college is still rocking it. It's still great. So they're
Oh
built to
yeah.
last.
Yeah, the trick that we're finding is that they don't like to wear their backpack at all. Like they don't want to wear a backpack
No,
for any reason.
yeah,
And
it's
so we're kind of trying to work through with them on like, okay, well, what could you wear? What would you like? Is it a sling bag? Is it a messenger bag? Is it just a different backpack? Like what is so I think even if you get the backpack, um, trying to figure out like what it is and also making sure that whatever you're putting in there is modular to the point where okay, they're going to school, but then maybe they're going to a friend's house
yeah, it needs to be
for the
functional
weekend.
for normal things like, and also like how does it work? Like I think your lunchbox has to be a module for it.
Yeah.
Uh, that's sorry by the way if I'm taking the conversation off into
No, no, no.
school stuff. It's just like the
This is
what's
what we
going on in
do.
the top household this week.
Yeah. No, I think school is one of those things where I think we all I look I had a lovely therapy session today and most of it revolved around everything that was going on and I think we like to have control over things. I think preppers in general want to have control and the fact that we don't have control over certain things makes us anxious and we try to establish control by kind of coming up with solutions for things that may or may not happen and plans and all that sort of stuff. At least that's my psychoses, I guess, or
Yeah.
whatever. It probably doesn't apply to everybody. I'm not going to project on everyone, but for me, like if I can't control it, then I'm going to try to come up with contingency plans.
Yeah.
And so with school, like I can't control what happens at their school, but I can control what's in their backpacks in case something were to happen at school. And I can't control what happens in somebody else's house, but I can control what they have supply wise, how close I am in proximity, like, what sort of communication options we have available, should something happen, to then act and
Yeah.
move on.
Well, I'm gonna probably ping you and get to figure out like, hey, what's in Casey's kit, and then
Yep.
we start from there. That's my
Yep.
baseline, and let's break it down from there. I saw a really good question. I know Chuck and Pigs Fly are just they're having they're
Yeah.
catching up on things.
We moved the
Nothing about
chat
what we're
room from
talking about.
Wednesday to Friday and
Yeah,
decided to do some videoing while it was happening.
but it sounds like
What happened?
Michelle, I think had a good one there.
Yes, let's see.
Yeah.
What is your favorite way to use up pantry food preps before they expire? Favorite meals you need: ramen, pasta, etc.
Do you want to go first or?
Sure. I think so. For us, I think I was actually just talking about this with somebody else, which I may do as a separate stream. I keep coming up with the ideas of separate streams that I might do but
Yeah.
it was a guy who was recognizing, hey, I want to get more into prepping. What do I do? And we were going through the process. And originally, like, we bought a bunch of freeze dried food because that you buy the buckets. It's easy. You can do the math. And then over time, it was okay. Well, let's do more of the prepper pantry where we're buying stuff out, 6 months worth of stuff that we eat, as opposed to just buying specialized emergency food.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, it's really about just the rotation of our family meals. And if you've got something that expires in a year and we're buying 6 months worth of it, you've got a little bit of room to play. So we are always doing, spaghettis, we're doing mac and cheese, we're doing ramen, we're doing any type of, put a meat and a couple of sauteed vegetables with some pasta of any kind. Like, you can make that a bunch of different ways. Same thing with rice. Those last forever, and okay, you can make it that way. We don't tend to get super elaborate with the meals at our house. And we have enough dietary restriction issues happening at our house that, like,
Mm-hmm.
everything is kind of, we have our go-tos and we work on those because we know that everybody can eat them, or we know that we can do that. So our pantry is really aligned to that. So that would be kind of how we would do it, is just continue to restock the pantry with stuff that we eat, and then eat the stuff that we have in our pantry.
Nice. Yeah, I think the way that we do, well, first off, even if it's past expiration date, we're still
Yeah.
I mean, if it's years, like if this is from 5 years ago, but because I know it's like it's best until this date, and then after
Yeah.
that it's maybe 90%, but still. But well, first off, I think before we don't mind. We have places that we like donating our preps to. So like if we have a whole bunch of pantry preps and if they do expire, and we don't want to, we have a couple food banks that we like contributing to, and we come in there with and they welcome us with open arms. So I think it's always good to have like, okay, who's my food bank, my local food bank that's going to be the one that I contribute all my expired preps to. But before that it gets to that point, we throw parties and we do like a one pot dish. So like we'll do
Oh,
like
okay.
my father-in-law, he calls it Steve's glop. His name's Steve, and he would just put everything into a one pot and then serve it like a soup type thing or a stew. And people like you put some Johnny seasoning in it, it's probably going to be pretty good. So that's like so sometimes we have like a lot of friends come over for parties and stuff, drinking parties, and I find that if people are drinking, they don't really care what they eat as long as it's food. So we'll make some kind of one pot glop and just use up the old stuff, and people like it. And if you throw a little meat in there and some stuff, it goes well. So that's what we do. But most of the time we don't run out of we don't have stuff that, because we're leveraging my dot system, the color coded dot, so we're doing pretty good for not letting stuff expire and using the old stuff first. But if need be, we'll do a one pot Steve's glop, or we'll just donate it to a local food bank.
Yeah, I think also you can always take stuff and then like convert it. So if you've got pasta or something like that, maybe make spaghetti and then freeze it So maybe
I heard that
it's
pasta works better. Like if you should freeze it even before it goes into storage, because I think it kills some stuff in it. Like that
yeah.
makes it last
I've
longer.
heard
I heard
like
something about that.
flour that you're supposed to do that with flour or
Okay.
something. But oh, we got a bot.
Oh,
Oh my
I'm on
goodness,
here.
the Earth is flat. We have a bot. I'm very
Oh,
excited.
bot alert! Wow, we're doing pretty good.
Oh, it's very exciting.
Yes.
You've made it when the bots have arrived.
Yeah.
Um,
This is
but even doing things like, making spaghetti, putting the pasta in it, freezing that, so it's more available and ready, like the rest of the meal. Instead of trying to figure out what you're going to make with the pasta, whatever. Like, okay, you've already done that, and now it's in the freezer, and now that can sit in the freezer for
yeah.
6 months or a year, and just kind of do it that way.
I've been experimenting with because again, the olive oils that's so expensive now,
It
especially the
is
Costco kind.
so expensive.
And I'm like, "What?" And olive oil basically lasts like the shelf life is what, like 1 to 2 years maybe.
Mhm.
But if you freeze it and it's airtight, it can last for up to 5 years. And so I've been experimenting with it's driving my wife crazy, but I have these ice cube trays with olive oil in it, and I have it vacuum sealed. And I'm trying to see, okay, when I'm cooking, instead of could I just put a couple ice cube cubes of olive oil in and use that for the cooking? So that's what I've been trying.
Oh, we have a
Tup's mom.
special guest.
Oh, special.
Special
My
guest.
mom's here.
Your Tup's mom has arrived.
I've heard not to use cake mixes after it. Well, my mom should know on this. Yeah, we default to mom on that, but maybe that's true. Maybe someone in the comment section will comment on that. My mom makes I don't everyone has like that crazy cake or depression cake, the cake that
Yep.
that's like the prepper's chocolate cake because it doesn't require anything that's refrigerated. But
Yeah.
and that's what I want when it's my birthday. I usually want that. She calls it crazy cake.
Crazy cake is fantastic.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that,
get nearly enough credit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Let's see, Michelle. Much appreciated, fellas. I have the box of
yeah.
jambalaya that add an extra can of beans to make it nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's a
Yeah, I
fantastic
think that
idea.
ramen's like an awesome like everyone should just have a big Costco case of ramen for that kind of stuff because you could just add stuff to it and it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of like, I mean, it's a base, and you just
It's a
add
base.
whatever else
And yeah, it's probably
you've
not the
got to it.
healthiest thing in the world. It's filled with sodium and all that, but my kids eat it, so that's what's important.
Yeah, we
So
found
Big Slice said you could use cake mixes up to 2 years past its date.
that is. See, we have the greatest chat room.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
are on it for us.
They're like the chat GPT of preppers.
Yeah.
They answer all the questions.
Speaking of ChatGPT and
Yes.
prepping, so I've started one of my like organization things where you're talking about details and things. So one of my projects is building like I'm calling it like the family wiki. But the idea is I know that I have a lot of information in my head that just is there about where things are in our house, why systems are set up the way that they are, why finances work in the way that they do, and all that sort of stuff. And I know that I've told them, like my wife and I have conversations about this all the time of, hey, we're doing this or hey, we're doing that. But it's not necessarily like the forefront thing that she thinks about all the time or, the kids are thinking about. And so trying to create a system where I can get all of those details out of my head and into some sort of a format so that if I wasn't around or, when the kids go off and they're doing their own thing, if they need to reference back to something, medical histories, any of that sort of stuff, like we have all that data together.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing around with ChatGPT to help me with that. And it is like fantastic.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It is the stuff that I will just put, because I'll put things like, for example, our backup system. So we have a new NAS, a big hard drive in our house, and I have the computers are backing up, and then it's going to the cloud, and the computers are going to the cloud, and all this sort of stuff. And I was forgetting myself, like why I had set up certain connections the way that I had set them up. And so I just wrote it out, like just stream of consciousness into a Word doc, and then copied and put it in ChatGPT and said, hey, you're a technical writer who helps people understand stuff. Like, make this, organize it, make it sound better. And it
Yeah.
put together a really great, like organized it, restructured it, had all of the pertinent details and all of like, and so I just copied that. And so I'm making like a little WordPress site for our family that will have like all of these different things. So I was like, okay, we have a little bit of cryptocurrency. We don't have a ton, but we have some. I know how to use it because I've done it. If you ask my wife or kids how to like sell it or where it was or anything, they would have no idea. So I was like, okay, ChatGPT, we use this app and we have this split. And if you wanted to sell it or whatever, like, how would you do that? Write instructions. And it just spits out instructions with all of our pertinent details, copy, paste into the like. And
That's
so we
awesome.
start to kind of create this, which when we've talked about things like those off-grid Wi-Fi hotspots and internet in a box and all that sort of stuff, being able to kind of take we've got all the scanned documents, which is a project that I've done, and we've got all the photos together and everything else, but trying to capture the commentary, I think, is something that is a little more difficult to do. And ChatGPT is turning out to be a really wonderful way of making that process a little more efficient.
Yeah, I do this. Some yours is that sounds pretty awesome. You're basically making like a AI agent that
I have a friend, and we were talking about, okay, how do we create uh like rags, which are, from my understanding of AI, and I'm not an expert, but it's like a little repository of documents that you feed to an AI and you say, okay, answer questions based on these documents that we have. So like, how do we create like that repository and then feed it into a local version of an AI like a llama or something that's running locally, so it's not accessing the web, it's within our little firewall, and then let the family ask it questions and
yeah.
have all of our information to basically, like, that's the big vision. But the
Yeah.
first part is I've got to get this commentary stuff all put together so it
Oh,
knows what we're doing.
I'm working on something similar with I don't know if you've used make.com, but
Yep.
I'm I'm trying to get it so it I want to get every single transcript of every video I've ever done and
Mm-hmm.
feed it into that and just train this tup bot. Then
Yeah.
it'll know it, like everything that's been out there, and then you can ask direct questions on it. But yours is more customized, more personal stuff that you don't want to. There's not a transcript of it, so I do something similar with the notes feature on the MacBook where I use the notes and I have it. I just
Mm-hmm.
record myself talking and I do it, it's and then and then I take that transcript, feed it to ChatGPT or another agent, and then have it summarize, and yeah, and doing that too. So it's pretty fascinating. It's scary, but it's pretty handy oftentimes. Like we used it for my mom, who's in the chat. I think she's in the chat room still.
Yeah.
But she had a medical appointment, and we I asked, can we record this? So we recorded the medical
Mm-hmm.
appointment with all these details, and then I did the same thing where I got the transcript, had it summarized, had the key talking points, and then like when the family was asking about the medical information, I was able to, hey, write a text message to the family that gives the highlights, and it was so handy for that stuff, and accurate too.
Yeah. It is rapidly becoming one of my favorite things because it becomes so, it's a wonderful translator of the way that I think into something that then works for other people, or how to take something that's rough and very efficiently make it more usable. And I think
Yeah,
from a prepping perspective, there's so much information that, oh yeah, Tuf's mom is still here.
that's what I'm still here. Okay, she's
Um, yeah, which is fantastic. We're so
yes,
glad she's here. I mean, Sutton's Days is a wonderful visitor when we have the Queen, but I
yeah.
mean, Tup's mom is.
It's pretty
I
big time.
mean, I would almost put that a little higher than Sutton's Days. Not gonna lie,
She's
I'm
yeah.
just gonna say,
It's a
um,
treat when she's here. So
yeah, exactly.
no pressure though. For
We love you. We love you, Sutton's Days, but
yes,
also, so I think, you know, especially when you're trying to do a lot of these projects that involve a lot of tedious, time consuming stuff. I mean, time is the most valuable thing I think that we have at the moment, of just like with kids and everything else, like trying to get that out. Um, eh,
yeah. I'd love if there was some kind of off grid. Ch- uh, uh, ChatGPT style, where we could train it up with all this
Hmm.
info, and it talks as us. So, and you could have it like, I don't know how you would do it, but if in an emergency situation you could reference this thing, well, and it might not have access to the internet, but it would have access to all the stuff that you fed it. That's, yeah, you're kind of going like a Jarrell route from Man of Steel, where you're offloading all of your
Yeah,
thoughts and everything into, and be able to talk, and people can interact with you.
yeah.
Let's see.
There was a
ATF. I wish
yeah.
ChatGPT would summarize these prep talks. Would save us. Man, ATF for I've known ATF for since 2011, and not a year has gone by where there hasn't been a good smack talk, and it's always in good fun. And
I feel like we can have ChatGPT just write and do like
yeah,
Prep
say
Talk
like,
Live for us. It would save us a lot of time too.
and we could have it say, hey, write a comment as ATF, that a snarky
Yeah,
comment with regard to the show, because he's
yeah,
kind of like the old guys from the Muppets.
yep, exactly.
Just bad mouthing.
Yep, he's just sitting up on the balcony.
Yeah, sitting on the balcony. Yeah.
There is actually I'd seen a project. Speaking of your AI thing, that and it was an off grid. They'd taken a Raspberry Pi, and I was asking my friend who kind of makes these sorts of things, and I have another friend who's a little bit of a data security guy, and we were talking about like, okay, I saw this thing. How do we build it ourselves?
Mhm.
And can we do it for cheaper than what the guy was selling it for? Because it wasn't awful, but it was spendy enough that it's not a thing I was just going to do. And it was basically a box, and he put a monitor on it, a little monitor, and attached it to a Raspberry Pi, and there was memory, and he was running Llama, which is the Meta's open source version of AI, ChatGPT, whatever. For anybody who's not really in the space, it's just a different flavor. But was running that locally,
Mhm.
off
Cool.
grid on the thing. So even if you didn't have internet, if you didn't have electricity, you could still run
That's
an
cool.
AI conversation. And I was like, okay, that is super cool. So then could you take that,
Yeah.
pair that with your own personal stuff, and then you've got, it's unlimited at that point of
Yeah.
what you can pull together. So
Let's see. I saw a good comment from Chuck. Where is it? Just thought of something. With no power, I don't have a good method to bake anything. I could cook things and heat things up. So so Chuck could cook things and heat things up, but doesn't have a good way of baking things without power. I don't know if you see that one, but
yeah.
and I don't know if a good answer for that. Like I'm a big fan of the air fryer right now, but I don't know if that's baking though.
So there is so we had this for a while. It worked really well. But it was big for what we do, so we got rid of it. But there are a couple of versions of propane
I've seen those. Yes.
ovens.
Yes.
There's a Coleman version, which is smaller, and I'd say it looks flimsy. I don't have a lot of experience with it. I've just seen it in the stores, but it looks like what you would
Looking
think
it
of
up.
it as a quintessential camping oven. Actually, oh yeah, I can look at that Coleman. I'll just look that up.
Propane oven camping.
Oven.
But that one's too big.
Yeah. So
These are
here.
huge. Like why would you want to bring that camping?
Oh, continue.
That one looks pretty good. This the Coleman portable camping oven.
Yeah. So here, I'll go ahead and share my
That's like a safe. Huh?
screen, and then we can.
Oh yeah, we have the technology for that.
We do if it's deciding that it's grant access to this application. Sure, I would love to. Okay. Allow. Later. Fine. Okay. I don't know what's happening, but we're going to try this. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So,
Yeah, that one looks nice.
yeah.
Wait, this is more expensive than what I saw.
I don't know what the difference is. This is, but I believe
Mine's $55.
that this is a Coleman. Now, this one, this is the one. Oh, that's just the carry bag. We used to have the Camp Chef one, which you can buy the carry bag, but what I really want is to show the oven. I guess this one is kind of similar. I don't know if they sell the oven on here. but it works really well. So the oven that goes along with this Camp Chef here worked really, really well. We took it with us camping, and we made chocolate chip cookies in it one night because I thought that was a great idea. I will tell you, it was, I think, the second time we ever went camping. I didn't really know what I was doing.
I just added it to my list.
Yeah, but it seemed like a good idea. It not only, what's really cool about it is it has an oven, but then it also, the top is a range.
Wow. That's just the carry bag for it. Okay.
Camp Chef oven. Yeah, and I don't know. Here we go. Outdoor oven. This thing. Okay. Yeah. So it's a little on the spendy side. But what's cool is it has 2 propane burners on the top.
That is cool.
As well as the oven. So
a little bit on the big side, probably, but
yeah. So 2 of the knobs are the burners, are the range burners, and then the other's the oven. So, as a bug in scenario option, this will give you both. It'll give you a cooktop and it will give you the oven. So you don't need to then have like a camping stove. You could kind of use this and you just attach either a standard little propane bottle to it, or you'd use the big, the big propane tanks, and you can adjust from there. But it actually worked pretty well. The cookies were great. You don't have as much temperature control as you obviously on a real oven, because you're just kind of adjusting the propane flow, as it were.
Yeah.
But it baked cookies, and we had some friends that had one, and they made nachos in it. They did all kinds of stuff.
See, I have the Coleman burner stove already, and I feel like maybe because there's a $55 version of the Coleman oven.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one on the right there, the bottom. Yeah, it looks like that, but
yeah,
kind of. Yeah, I like it. In the past, like when we were doing Cub Scout type things, we were using a Dutch oven for some baking, and also we used a solar stove, I think is what, or no, it wasn't a solar stove. It was we made brownies in this like aluminum foil box that had some stuff in it, and that worked pretty good too.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to work better.
Yeah, no, I think if you wanted it to be an oven, if you had the ability to plan, so if you're not survivalisting it, if you're not, okay, we have no plan, and so we're just trying to patch stuff together, then like the box with the foil and everything, cool idea, and you know how to do that. Yeah. If you're planning ahead and saying, okay, I want to have baking capability if there was an emergency, then getting something that's a little more specific.
Mother of Healer says the Instafire Ember oven. Oh, geez, that looks pretty. That looks pretty sweet.
Ember.
It doesn't have as many reviews, but look at that.
Ooh, that's fancy.
That looks gnarly looking, huh?
That looks serious.
That's like some legit stuff, man.
Yeah.
Is it? But it doesn't have a lot of reviews, so does that mean it's?
Yeah, I don't know. 75. It also is multi.
Oh,
it's a little bit multi-fuel, but it's not propane.
It's not propane. Okay, charcoal.
Yeah.
Twigs, fire starter, canned heat.
Yeah.
I like the propane though.
Well, I think the thing with
this has some good benefits too, though.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that it actually has different fuel sources than propane, because okay, if you're using propane, obviously you're going to be using that for multiple different things, and so drawing more propane to use this might not be a good idea. Having the ability to use wood or charcoal or something like that and diversify your fuel sources might actually be beneficial. But I like the option of having the propane as an option if I don't have any of the, twigs and charcoal. And if you don't know, it doesn't look like you can put a lot of twigs.
Yeah, it looks pretty tiny. It looks pretty small, huh?
Yeah. So how often are you going to be feeding it? How much is it going to go through? So I would have some
Like,
questions about
yeah,
that.
I'm gonna look into it because it looks like, I mean, it looks pretty tiny. So like, in an emergency situation, you gotta, man, I really want a muffin right now. Let me bake a single muffin.
One muffin,
Maybe
not
one or maybe two.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but it's having
Pretty
an
cool.
oven. They are very cool. And
I added both to my wish list, and I'll do some research on my end.
oh, excellent. Yeah, I will say the Camp Chef one worked really, really well. It was a big unit. And so we ended up actually getting rid of it because we were just kind of like, okay, in an emergency, are we really going to be baking much? And it took up like a whole, like half a shelf in our garage. And it was super heavy to try to get down. So anytime you tried to like get it off of the shelf to take it anywhere, you were kind of taking your life in your hands a little bit. So,
Yeah, it
something
looks
that's a
like
little
for
bit smaller.
that ember item is definitely small, and I see there's some videos out there by some of our friends.
Oh,
Provident Preppers.
yeah, I like that they like 6-hour canned heat. I'm wondering if that's like if you can get just like a standard kind of gel heat thing that's maybe not branded, it's a little less expensive, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch their video of it. They always do good videos. The Provident Prepper.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
Well, I feel like we've covered quite a
Oh,
bit.
we did pretty good. It was kind of time flew by on this one.
I think we did a really
We
good
got
job.
fancy. We even got
We did the split screen
the
thing.
split screen, everything. So that's when we know it's a good stream.
Yes. So anyway, well, thanks everyone for joining us. And we had a lot of good topics, I think, tonight too.
Yeah, well,
I think
it's because my mom came, so we had to step up our game a little bit.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We do. When your mom comes or Sutton's Days comes, we have to really
Yeah.
level up. Otherwise, it's just a free for all.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Leave us some comments in the questions. We're trying to do like more streams, more videos. Like there's a lot of stuff that we are kind of kicking around. And so if there are topics you guys want us to talk about, feel free to leave them in the comments and we will do the best we can with that. Are we next week? Next week, I am not available on Wednesday.
Oh.
So we will have to.
That works out good because I have a family member birthday, I think, but I could do Thursday. Okay. Well, I'll have my people contact your people, and then we'll figure out what's the.
I'll have my AI bot call your scheduling.
Let's have that. They'll have to have the bot talk with each other.
Exactly, and we'll get that. So anyway, keep an eye out. We'll let you guys know when the next episode is coming out. And until then, we will see you very soon next week or potentially the week after. Thanks, everybody. Bye.